Imagine this. You wake up at 3:17 a.m., not to an alarm, but to a silent, gnawing dread. The kind that doesn't scream, but whispers. You're wasting your life. You scroll through your phone, not because you want to, but because the alternative is staring into the void of your own thoughts. The to-do list mocks you from the nightstand. The gym membership glares from your wallet. The half-written novel sighs from your hard drive. You tell yourself, tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Here's the paradox. You're not lazy. You've burned with ambition before, stayed up late learning, hustled for opportunities, dreamed wildly, yet now even the simplest tasks feel like wading through tar. Society calls this laziness. Productivity gurus sell you discipline. But what if the truth is far darker? What if you're not avoiding work? You're avoiding yourself. Consider this. A man stranded in a desert doesn't refuse to walk. He just doesn't know which direction leads to water. He could march for miles, but if he's lost, every step is exhaustion without purpose. Is he lazy, or is he paralyzed by the absence of meaning? This is the great question. Why do we stop caring? Not in the way depression numbs, but in the way a compass spins uselessly when removed from true north. You were made for something specific, something urgent, but the map you were given is blank. The goals you chase feel hollow because they were never yours to begin with. Think of the last time you felt truly alive, not productive, not efficient, but alive. Was it when you followed a script, or when you broke one? When you conformed, or when you created? The modern world is a factory of borrowed desires. You're told to want promotions, likes, and 5-year plans, but no one teaches you how to want yourself. So you drift, you distract, you mute the quiet voice that whispers, "This isn't you," because listening would mean admitting you've been lost for years. But here's the secret. This ache isn't your failure, it's your compass. The very pain you numb is the thread that could lead you home. The question isn't how to be productive. It's why you've forgotten how to want. And that is where the real journey begins. You are not lazy. You are dispossessed. Somewhere along the way, the world convinced you that your exhaustion was a personal failing, that if you just tried harder, woke earlier, or followed the right system, the fog would lift. But what if the fog isn't inside you? What if it's the air you've been forced to breathe? The theft of meaning. Carl Jung once wrote, "The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it." Yet modern society operates on a brutal inversion of this truth. You are conditioned to chase metrics, grades, salaries, followers, as if they were ends in themselves. But humans are not machines. We wither when stripped of why. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this coming. He warned of the last men, those who would blink passively at their own lives, prioritizing comfort over creation, safety over significance. They have their little pleasures for the day and their little pleasures for the night, he wrote, but they respect health. Sound familiar? The 21st century didn't invent disconnection, it industrialized it. The illusion of choice. You believe you're free, but freedom without self-knowledge is a mirage. Jean-Paul Sartre called this bad faith. The lie we tell ourselves when we pretend our choices are ours, even as we follow scripts written by others. The career you chose, the life you built, how much of it was a reaction to fear, to expectation, to the silent pressure of the unexamined path? Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, observed that humans can endure almost any how, if they have a why. But when society severs you from your why, you don't stop functioning. You just replace it with counterfeit purposes, productivity for its own sake, consumption as identity, busyness as worth. The neurological betrayal. This isn't just philosophy, it's biology. Your brain has two modes: the task positive network, focus, and the default mode network, wandering introspection. The latter is where meaning is made, where you connect the dots of your life, where creativity sparks, where you emerge. But modern life hijacks this. Endless notifications, the cult of urgency, the tyranny of the algorithm, they keep you trapped in shallow focus, starving the part of you that asks, what does this all mean? Aldous Huxley predicted this in Brave New World. People will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think. You don't resist because you've been anesthetized, not by force, but by infinite distraction. The unseen war. Beneath the surface of your daily life, a war is being fought, not between you and laziness, but between you and the systems that profit from your disorientation. Social media thrives on your attention, not your fulfillment. Corporations need workers, not seekers. The economy rewards compliance, not depth. Arthur Schopenhauer put it bluntly, most men spend their lives in a state of constant escape from themselves. But escape to where? The tragedy isn't that you're lost. It's that you've been taught to mistake the maze for the world. You don't notice the rot until the floor gives way. At first, it's subtle. A vague dissatisfaction, a sense of time slipping through your fingers. But left unchecked, this disconnection metastasizes. It rewires your instincts, distorts your relationships, and turns your life into a series of reactions rather than choices. The slow death of agency. Every time you silence the whisper of, "This isn't me," to meet an external expectation, you surrender a fragment of your will. Over years, this accumulates into what psychologists call learned helplessness, the quiet conviction that nothing you do matters. You might still go through the motions, but the spark of authorship is gone. Studies on decision fatigue reveal a chilling truth. The more choices you make against your grain, the less capacity you have to choose at all. This isn't laziness, it's neurological depletion. Your brain wasn't designed to live on autopilot, the Stockholm syndrome of modern life. You adapt. You convince yourself you want the 60-hour work week, the soul-crushing commute, the performative hustle. Cognitive dissonance is a powerful anesthetic. But your body keeps score. The Sunday night dread that feels like grief, the inexplicable rage at trivial inconveniences, the hollow victories that leave you emptier than before. These aren't personal failures. They're the symptoms of a life out of alignment with its own design. The social contagion of lostness. This malaise isn't solitary. It spreads through generations like a silent pandemic. Children learn to ask, "What will get me ahead?" before they learn to ask, "What makes me come alive?" Relationships become transactional, networks instead of bonds. Communities dissolve into audiences. The French sociologist Émile Durkheim called this anomie, a collapse of the connective tissue that gives life meaning. In its place, we get the 21st century's defining paradox. Never more connected, never more alone. The theft of time. Here's the cruelest trick of all. The more lost you are, the faster time moves. Neurologically, novelty stretches time. remember the endless summers of childhood. But when your days blur into repetition, years vanish without memory. The autopilot life isn't just unfulfilling, it's unremembered. You don't get these years back. The fork in the road. This isn't a call to despair, it's a diagnosis. Because once you see the mechanism, you can dismantle it. The question isn't, how do I get motivated? It's, what system have I been plugged into without my consent? And more importantly, how do I unplug? The way out is not forward, it's inward. For years, you've been trying to fix your life with the same tools that broke it. More discipline, more optimization, more force. But you cannot solve a crisis of meaning with productivity hacks. The prison isn't your lack of effort. It's the invisible bars you've mistaken for the sky. The first law of liberation. Stop climbing the wrong mountain. There's a story about a man who spent years scaling a peak only to realize at the summit that he was on the wrong mountain. Most people's lives are this tragedy in slow motion. Your rebellion begins with one heretical question. What if the things I'm chasing are someone else's definition of success? Not your parents, not your cultures, not your LinkedIn feeds, yours. This isn't about quitting your job or burning your life down. It's about finally distinguishing between goals you've chosen and goals that have chosen you. The second law, cultivate holy discontent. Viktor Frankl observed that depression often stems not from too little happiness, but from too little meaning. The antidote isn't positive thinking, it's sacred rage. That gnawing dissatisfaction, that's not your enemy, it's your compass. The projects you can't stop thinking about, the conversations that make time disappear, the versions of yourself that feel most alive. These are clues written in the language of your nervous system. Stop pathologizing your hunger. Start following it. The third law, reclaim your attention, the scarcest resource. Your attention is the soil where meaning grows. Yet you've been letting corporations and algorithms farm it like a cash crop. The radical act? Become ungovernable. Delete the apps that turn you into a stimulus response machine. Schedule white space, where you do absolutely nothing. Let yourself be bored until your real thoughts emerge. As Nietzsche warned, the surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. Your attention is the last frontier of your freedom. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. The fourth law, practice existential jujitsu. The system wants you to believe you need permission. To create, wait for the right credentials. To change, wait for the right moment. To matter, wait for external validation. Here's the secret. No one is coming to validate you. Start small, but start sovereign. Write the terrible first draft, have the awkward conversation, build the weird prototype. Action precedes motivation, not the other way around. As Sartre put it, you are your choices, not your thoughts, not your intentions, your choices. The final law, build your own mythology. Every culture throughout history had rites of passage, deliberate, often difficult transitions from one state of being to another. Modernity gave you graduation ceremonies and LinkedIn updates. Create your own rituals. A solo journey with no itinerary, a month-long fast from others' opinions, a confrontation with something that terrifies you. This isn't self-help. This is self-creation. You were never lost. You were asleep. And now, here, in this moment, you are waking up. The illusion of arrival. All your life, you've been waiting for a sign, a permission slip from the universe that says, now you may begin. But the cosmic joke is this: you were always beginning. Every hesitation, every false start, every detour, they weren't failures. They were the curriculum. The Japanese concept of ikigai, your reason for being, isn't some distant treasure to uncover. It's the pulse already beating beneath your ribs. You don't find it. You remember it. The antidote to ambiguity. There is a question so potent it dissolves all confusion. What would I do if I weren't afraid? Not if I were fearless, man, that's a fantasy. But if I weren't afraid, what then? The answer isn't in some grand sweeping vision. It's in the quiet moments. The book you'd write if no one would read it. The craft you'd master if it made no money. The love you'd give if you knew it wouldn't be returned. This is your North Star. Not passion, not purpose. Fidelity to your own essence. The most dangerous prayer. Carl Jung once said that the most terrifying thing is to know yourself, because once you do, the game is over. You can no longer hide behind, I don't know what I want. It's too late. Who am I to? The moment you stop outsourcing your identity, the entire architecture of your life must shift. This isn't enlightenment, it's accountability. The final paradox. Here's the secret no guru will tell you. You don't need to be found. You need to stop pretending you're lost. The exhaustion you've been fighting, it wasn't laziness. It was your soul's rebellion against a life of self-betrayal. The procrastination, not a flaw, but a strike. Your subconscious refusing to participate in its own erasure. The anxiety, not a malfunction, but a homing signal, pulling you back to the path you were meant to walk. The last layer, strip everything away, the expectations, the comparisons, the shoulds, and what remains? Not your resume, not your roles, not even your name. Just this, a consciousness that chose to show up here, now, against all cosmic odds, with the audacity to ask, what next? That's all you've ever been. That's all you'll ever need to be. The invitation, close your eyes, breathe. Feel the weight of your body against the chair, the air moving in and out of your lungs, the hum of electricity in your nerves. This is it. The only moment that's ever existed. The only moment that ever will. What do you want to do with it? Not tomorrow. Not when things are perfect. Now, the world doesn't need another success story. It needs your story, the one only you can tell. So tell it.